Good afternoon and welcome back to Encyclopedia.zone. My name is Don Jolly, freelance writer whose work has appeared in Kaleidotrope magazine, the Los Angeles Review of Books, among others. Today we are going to be doing a slight update on politics, specifically the politics of the 2020 campaign, because I got a tip this morning in my email box from Team Joe Biden that they had new merch for sale. So we're going to be doing a merch review of Joe Biden's new products. I think this is going to be really fucking exciting. I'm excited to go through it with you. All right. So here we go. We got a whole new set. These are the new pieces of merch. We got a whole new set of designs. We got an iced coffee tumbler. We got a coffee mug. We got a tote bag, and we got a crew neck T-shirt featuring the aviator design. Now you see the aviator design is red, white, and blue aviators because, of course, Joe Biden is an iconic political personage. He has an iconic look, and it is all summarized by fucking aviators. And here we see the logo for the aviators design, which is JO stylized E represented by three disconnected lines, and then 2020. JO 2020, jerk off 2020. I believe that this is a design that's supposed to appeal to the youth, maybe those people that are tweeting memes about the squad in the Democratic primary voting base. This is something that says vote for Joe Biden because he's got so much swagger, and also because you're on the internet and you know that people are searching for the letters JO a lot. Of course, they're doing this because they want jerk off encouragement or jerk off instruction. And with the stylized E, it looks like this is, you've got cop sunglasses on the front, and then on the sleeve, you've got jerk off encouragement 2020, which is a bold choice for getting to those younger voters, but I applaud the Biden campaign for giving it a shot. Back in the more respectable zones, we've got the Biden for President polo. This is for your middle-of-the-road Democrat, not anti-business, not one of those scary socialists like Bernie Sanders, but like engineer in the oil industry, believes in social progressivism, doesn't want to be a total fucking asshole like his brother-in-law Rob, who voted for Trump. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of white monsters cracked over the Biden for President design polo shirt. Basically, this is the imagination of the Biden campaign as represented in their merch right now. Is there's three groups that we need to appeal to. We got your middle of the road centrist Democrats, Clinton voters, baby boomers. We've got your millennials who we don't understand at all. And the only clue that we have to understanding them is those onion stories about Joe Biden from fucking 10 years ago. And that's what we imagine people want out of Joe Biden. Even though the joke is that Joe Biden is not, a reliable guy. He's not iconic. He's like a fucking skeevy dude. That's the joke of those onion stories. But this is the closest they could get to making something that appeals to the youth, is to talk about Joe Biden's fucking swagger. And then we've got Joe Biden Pride merchandise, which you see comes with both the Joe and the Biden, and an additional Pride with the stylized Biden E. The stylized Biden E has become the unifying theme of the whole campaign. I don't know, man. I mean, look, I don't have a lot of respect for Joe Biden as a political performer. I'm starting to look at this campaign, and he announced with this video about Charlottesville and about returning dignity to the American political conversation, and then immediately after that, it's been gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. He seems vague, out of touch. Pretty much the only person who's complimentary towards him is Andrew Yang, weirdly, who says that Joe Biden is reaching out to him for technical advice. I don't think he's coming off well. I think he's shaping himself into something of a Jeb Bush, because I think his big argument for why he should be president is incoherent. he doesn't have the stature to restore dignity to American political conversation. And running with this kind of stuff where it's like supposed to play on his image, I don't think the Biden campaign or the Democrats in general realize how little Biden's image is worth. He's a third-rate Clinton. He can talk to the white working class. He feels your pain. He's a sensitive boy. He's not fucking going to upset the economic system. He's acceptable to all the various power structures involved. Not exciting, but acceptable. He's Clinton. And Clinton just got caught flying around on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, this Epstein thing seems to have really like meant something to you. And I think most people just are kind of disconnected from it. And, I suppose that's true. But I really think like there is a moment where your political brand has become so fucking toxic. And I think about the time that you get associated with pedophilia. I think that there's a point where it's like it becomes farcical to take any of this seriously. Like, I think that Bill Clinton getting tied up with the Epstein thing is like an existential threat to the future of the Democratic Party. And I think that the Donald Trump getting tied up with it is an existential threat to the future of Trump's version of the Republican Party. I just think it's so gross and it's so skeevy. And to see it, like, it's not doing the best in terms of a news story, but it's like out in mainstream fucking news sources. I'm looking at people subscribing to this channel that just shows you drone flyovers of Jeffrey Epstein's island. And it's like, it's conspiracy-y kind of stuff so that you don't actually see the worst of what the accusations are, but you get enough information that your mind can fill in the blanks when you see something like a utility door built into a hill or the fucking weirdo temple with the owl sculptures on it. I just want, this is the kind of thing that was being talked about on InfoWars 5 years ago that was like bubbling out of, this is like Art Bell Coast to Coast AM kind of stuff. And it's getting huge numbers. I'm not saying that it's like going to instantly poison the well for all of these people, but I'm saying that like the political system does not have the political parties and the system that empowers them does not have a great fucking reputation in America right now. This is the reason Trump got elected. Trump is a gigantic middle finger to everybody in the media and the political establishment. I'm not saying it's like actually, destabilizing the fucking system in some final way. But the reason that you vote for Donald Trump in general is because you want to see everybody who is telling you that Donald Trump's victory was impossible embarrassed and destroyed. And whatever he's actually done in office is sort of immaterial because we're talking about the imperative that caused people to vote for him. And I think that was the reason he was so successful, because it seemed like an act of aggression towards something that makes people feel anxious and terrible, which is the entire machinery of the American political process. And this is tied into media, because I think that the primary way that people engage with politics in their own lives is through consumer decisions, through the consumption of media specifically. The presidential election is the most successful television show in the history of television. It has a global audience. It has renewed itself again and again with a cast of unforgettable characters and increasing production values every time. There's spin-offs, there's tributaries, there's Sports Center style commentary shows. There's YouTube reaction videos where they talk about the minutia of the show and the merchandise that's being released for it. The presidential election is fucking Star Wars. It is a media franchise that has gone through a lot of changes, that is the result of a lot of different business and creative interests colliding with each other. And the beautiful thing about it, the thing that makes it the best TV show in history, is we watch it for 4 years, and then we get to go into the voting booth like American Idol, and we get to pick the direction of the show for the next 4 years. When George W. Bush got elected, Star Trek went from being like the hyper smug, hyper accepting, like holograms have rights to Star Trek Voyager of the Clinton years, to a show called Enterprise with a Christian rock song as the theme. Who you vote for president changes the entire tenor of corporate culture, and specifically television, which is the apotheosis of corporate culture in a lot of ways, even though its influence is declining now. The presidential election is a lot of things, and I'm not saying that political power is completely phony, but I think that the main way that people engage with it, and the reason that people vote as they do, is because they want to have some say in the media narrative that bombards them 24 hours a day. It's mostly a choice of tone and character. People voted for Donald Trump because they wanted to see him talk shit on television for 4 years, and they got what they wanted. Are people going to vote for Joe Biden because Joe Biden is iconic? Because of the fucking aviators, because of his association with Barack Obama, because he's just so intelligent and dignified, and his brand is going to bring this whole thing back. Fucking no. Nobody is going to vote that way. Joe Biden is not iconic. And the icon that he's aping, the party that he wants to be the like public man for, the Democratic Party, is a toxic fucking brand. The Republican Party is too. They thought it was going to be Jeb Bush. He was Mr. Republican last time around. Him and Marco Rubio were in a fight over who was more Mr. Republican. And what the fuck happened to them? Paul Ryan wanted to be fucking Mr. Tea Party, Mr. Libertarian, Mr. like, acceptable Ron Paul. What the fuck happened to him? These are toxic fucking brands, man. Like, the DSA has a much stronger brand than the Democratic Party as a whole right now. The DSA is, in the minds of voters, I think, a much more respectable and media-savvy organization. So, fucking against that, Biden is not performing, in my opinion. And I don't think any of these candidates is really addressing the elephant in the room, which is, if all political brands are toxic, what is going to come in to fill the gap? It's not just that the parties are toxic. It's that the news networks and the newscasters and the newspapers, the organs that actually bring those characters to you, the purveyors and the broadcasters of the presidential campaign media narrative, are distasteful to large portions of people, increasingly more and more people. And even if they're not actively distasteful, they're being watched and read less and less. Their utility to advertisers is shrinking. They're starting to go a little bit fucking crazy in what they're willing to report on. I've been told that I'm maybe focusing a little bit too much on the Epstein thing, but I watched the NBC, like the nightly news. I think it was like Hard Copy or Hardline, one of those tough sounding shows. They did a drone flyover of the island, and they're describing the building on the hill as temple-like. I'm like, you're getting your lexicon here from conspiracy theorist websites. 5 years ago, even with the public filing of charges against Epstein, which has happened before and has not gotten this coverage, you could say like this strange building which Epstein identified as a music room, using specifically the word temple, is playing in a expanded lexicon of American political dialogue that makes the whole thing more dramatic, more disgusting, more satanic. It makes it more religious. And the tenor of our political discourse right now is extremely religious. It's about belief. It's about grand conspiracies. It's about existential threats. It's about looming disasters and apocalypses and upsets that are on the way. And you could be a doomsday preacher as much as you want, but let me tell you, doomsday preachers do not get the fucking ratings that All in the Family does. You're going to need to have an avuncular, funny cast of characters who connect with the audience. If politics has become a toxic brand in the United States, I think it's time for a refresh. And I've got the perfect idea. We're going to embrace the television show aspect of it. We're going to just go full reality. They already give the election different names on different channels: Decision 2020, Democracy Works 2020, Your Choice 2020. Why don't we just give it the whole thing a new name? As they say on Mad Men, if this were a dog food, we'd change the name. I'm thinking people would really get engaged and really dig in, and you could incorporate the Epstein story. He just tried to kill himself last night, so it's on people's minds. If we just rename the election America's Next Top Pedophile,